driver. Pull up right in front of the scientific library. Right next to the laboratories there.
Okay, buddy. What's the matter with your dog? Got the pip?
Not feeling good.
I was wondering why you had a blanket on him in this hot weather. 55, mister.
Let me get my dog out first. Come on, boy. Get out. Get out.
He seems to like staying in my cab, huh?
Get out. Come on, come on, come on.
Hey, I guess he sees the big dog the woman's got over there.
Got change of $1?
Oh, sure. I guess the big police dog over there don't like your dog.
Stop it, stop it. Hey, there.
Hey, that woman's having trouble holding her dog.
Hey, hold on to your dog. Don't bring him over here.
I can't hold him. He's stronger than I am.
There's gonna be some action.
Hey, hold on to that dog. Boy, come here now.
You're too late, mister.
Hey, you gotta hold that dog.
Get your dog away. I can't.
Come on, boy, come here.
She's lost him.
Emergency. Calling all cars. Proceed immediately to street in front of Baltimore Experimental Laboratories. There has been a big explosion on sidewalk, blowing taxicab and 2 or more persons to pieces. Emergency.
Harding speaking. All roving Washington Counterspy investigators leave for Baltimore immediately. Emergency. Explosion in front of government laboratories.
Everett, I want you to leave for Baltimore with me at once.
This is the craziest case I ever heard of, Mr. Harding. Why would anybody want to blow up the street in front of the government experimental laboratory? You think it was an attempt to blow up the laboratory and it went wrong?
Definitely. The guard in the research laboratory saw it happen. And the explosion resulted from a dogfight.
A dogfight?
The most fantastic thing. We're up against a very unusual mind, Everett.
Anything left from the explosion to examine?
Nothing. The man who had one of the dogs, the woman who had the other dog, the taxicab driver, all were blown to bits. It was a terrific explosion. As soon as we reach Baltimore, we'll set up a thorough investigation. Baltimore field office, Harding speaking.
We located the kennels, Mr. Harding, where the dog was bought. A man came in. He bought the dog without leaving his name or address.
What do our agents report from the scene of the explosion?
Another thing. It must have been a terrific explosion.
What about the man who drove the taxi?
He's a discharged veteran, good American.
Oh? Well, Everett, this is one of the most uniquely conceived plots.
There just isn't any starting point.
Let me think a minute. We've got to find the starting point. These agents will make another attempt to destroy that laboratory.
What are your orders, sir?
Enemy agents had a dog. They now don't have a dog.
We could start a house-to-house canvass.
Well, that'll take us months. Come back to the field office, Everett. I've got an idea. We'll work out of here.
I'm feeling very nervous, Mr. Burley. Can't we leave this apartment and go someplace?
What time is it, Dora?
Almost midnight.
All right. We'll go out to eat.
Seems funny not having Charlie around.
Don't mention that fool. He bungled my whole plan.
Have the newspapers said anything about the explosion?
Just one little item. The government must have clamped down with censorship.
You're going to try some other way to destroy the laboratory?
Of course. But this time I'll do it myself.
Oh.
You're rather pretty, Dora.
I like you, too. Who's that? You don't suppose Charlie really wasn't killed?
Oh, strange this time of night.
frightened.
Stop it. I didn't leave one possible clue. Yes?
Are you Mr. Burley who lives here?
Yes.
I'm David Harding of the United States Counterspy. This is one of my agents, Mr. Everett.
May we come in, Mr. Burley?
Why, yes. Come in. This is Miss Dora Lester, a friend of mine.
How do you do, Miss Lester? This is Mr. Everett.
How do you do?
Miss Lester?
May I ask why you've called, Mr. Harding?
Well, 3 days ago, Mr. Burley, there was a dog which caused an explosion in front of the Baltimore Scientific Laboratories.
Why, that's strange.
Yes. Very strange, Mr. Burley. In fact, peculiar. These are government orders. Neither one of you is to move.
Just a minute.
No minute at all. I'm frisking you. No gun. Everett, check Miss Lester.
No gun either.
Mr. Harding, your attitude is uncalled for.
Mr. Burley, my men have been covering Baltimore. Restaurants, meat markets, pet shops, formulas, everything. Well, we found a restaurant right across the street where a man had been buying food for a dog every day. He hasn't bought any such food for the last 3 days.
I suppose you're referring to me.
Yes.
Well, what am I supposed to say?
You're supposed to do some pretty tall explaining. Where is your dog, Mr. Burley?
He, died.
Oh?
He didn't die by being blown to bits, did he, Mr. Burley?
No. My dog died a natural death.
Ah, I see. Well, when a dog does die a natural death, of course, there's always the body. Isn't there?
Why, yes.
Where is your dog's body, Mr. Burley?
Well, I was very attached to him. I took him and buried him in the country.
Suppose you show us where.
At this time of night?
Yes.
All right.
Must I drive out, too?
I'm afraid, Miss Lester, you must.
David Harding will be back in a moment. But meanwhile, what do you think is the best advice to give to a young lady who says,
You know, when my lipstick has gone back on me, or when it's worn off, or maybe kissed off, my little mirror is a good friend. It always warns me. But when my deodorant has gone back on me, nothing or no one will warn me. What's a girl to do?
well, friends, as many famous beauty editors and experts on good grooming and personal charm can tell you, modern science has the answer, and Fresh brings it to you. Yes, Fresh contains the most effective perspiration-stopping ingredient known. Fresh contains an exclusive ingredient. Fresh stops perspiration worries completely and safely. Ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of you, someday, sometime, may reach your deodorant deadline. The deodorant you are using may suddenly stop working. Why take chances? For lasting protection, switch to Fresh. To be sure, that's
Fresh. Fresh.
Now, back to David Harding, Counterspy.
Would you like me to help your agents in the digging, Mr. Harding?
They're doing all right, thank you, Mr. Burley. I'll just switch the beam of the searchlight, Everett.
I feel like I'm going to faint.
Keep still, Dora. You evidently don't believe me about burying my dog here, Mr. Harding.
I'm afraid I don't, Mr. Burley.
Look, Mr. Harding. There is something down there.
What? Everett, dig a little more right there.
Right. Can you beat that? What do you think, Chief?
Let me focus the flashlight. Burley. I apologize.
Well, let's forget it.
I thought your whole story of burying your dog here was preposterous.
Well, I've had a dog for quite a while. 3 days ago, he got taken with cramps. Died before I could get a doctor. I felt so badly, I brought him here and buried him in this field.
Miss Lester, we owe you an apology also.
I'm so nervous and upset. Frightened me so the way you came into the apartment.
We do make mistakes sometimes, and this is one. Well, we'll just have to start from the beginning again and look for another clue. I'll arrange immediately, Mr. Burley, for one of my agents to drive you and Miss Lester back to your apartment.
Seems so good to be back in the apartment again. The fool driver running out of gas.
All over being upset from your experience tonight, Dora?
Yes, Mr. Burley, I guess so.
Everyone makes mistakes, you know. Even Mr. Harding. He used to be a very charming man.
I don't see how you ever found in that darkness where you buried that dog.
Oh, that was simple.
That was a dirty trick you pulled on me, Burley.
I'm not in the habit of telling everyone everything.
You could have told me that you killed another dog and buried him out there. How do you think I felt all that time when you were claiming you did? And I thinking as soon as we got out there wouldn't be any dog's grave and we'd be caught.
You might as well learn to trust my judgment. Now go into your room and get cleaned up. We'll go out to a restaurant and get something to eat.
Charles used to tell me everything he was doing.
And Charles spoiled my whole plan and got himself blown to pieces.
Just the same, we had fun together and we...
Get your hands up, both of you.
What's the meaning of this?
Put your hands out. These cuffs are going on you.
Wait a minute. I can explain.
You've already done your explaining, Burley. I hoped you wouldn't suspect anything when my agent pretended to run out of gas while bringing you two back to the apartment. It gave me time to go to the police station and see if anyone during the past 3 days had lost a black shepherd dog with a tooth missing from the lower right jaw.
What does that prove?
It proves that when your other dog was blown to pieces, you didn't dare go to the kennels and buy another. So you looked until you could steal one. You killed him and buried him out there just in case there was some slip and you were approached.
Will I be put in prison if I tell everything I know?
Shut up, you fool.
What I'd like to do to you, Burley, is throw you to a whole kennel of dogs. They'd give you what you deserve. But instead, you're going to go to the electric chair.
And a lot of men will be coming home from the Pacific who wouldn't be if your fiendish plan had worked.
Burley, consider yourself under arrest by the United States government for espionage and murder.
And now here is Mr. Harding to tell you about next week's case.
I have before me a report of a German minesweeper which had just sailed into an Atlantic port and given itself up. I have here a report of a suspect living at an expensive, exclusive summer hotel overlooking that same port. This girl has recently fallen in love. And here's a report of a body just found in the same harbor. All these things don't happen like that unless they're carefully planned. This case is an emergency. We're leaving to investigate it immediately.
Hear the startling, exciting account of this case Wednesday, August 1st, same time, same station. David Harding, Counterspy. David Harding, Counterspy is brought to you by Fresh. Fresh, the new cream deodorant that stops perspiration worries safely. Switch to Fresh to be sure. David Harding, Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lloyd production for Fresh, the new cream deodorant.
This is the American Broadcasting Company.